Welcome, I'm Kinetic Symphony. This is Dave. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the supernatural. Case file number 1799, written by NauseantClover. Watched it burn, then it returned. When I was 19, I used to draw a lot with colored pencils and notebooks. Every drawing I've ever made has been unique from each other, and I never made copies of my drawings. I know this for a fact. I meticulously kept track of these notebooks as well. Drawing scenes of nature like grassy fields and forests, and other drawings of just animals and whatnot. Well, I had one notebook with a distinctive zebra pattern cover unlike any of the other notebooks. I remember this notebook vividly too because it was the one where I drew a cute smiling dog with big blue eyes and goofy human-like teeth, kinda like a cartoon but also semi-realistic. Almost like you'd see in those magazine dental ads at the doctor's office waiting room, with photoshopped animals, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, my mom had accidentally thrown it away along with my trash, and had it burning in a barrel, and she had just lit the fire when I noticed the notebook, but it was too late and I kinda just stood there, all sad, watching it burn. I even saw the pages curl up from the flames, revealing the drawing of the dog as I watched the rest of the notebook turn to ash and disappear. I was really sad because I spent lots of time on those drawings, and it hurt to see them go like that, but I got over it soon. I never got upset at my mom about it because she already felt guilty enough about it. Fast forward several months, and I'm in my room cleaning, when I suddenly see the notebook on the floor in my room, zebra pattern and all. I opened it up and sure enough, there were all the drawings and of course, the smiling dog with human teeth and big blue eyes staring right at me. I was, of course, in shock, because I knew for a fact that I had watched that notebook turn to ash. But here it was, clean and unscathed. I told my mom about it, and she told me it must be a different notebook, and that I was seeing things. No, I know what I saw, and it was 100% the same notebook. To this very day, I have no idea how this happened. Case file 1799, watched it burn, then it returned. Okay, this is different. This is not a DOP, you saw the notebook burn, but then it was restored from an earlier point in time before it was burned. I think we did see this one time with a vase in a person's home that was shattered by kids and then restored later on. I don't think that's a glitch, I think that's an intentional reparation, like a click in the real world by a developer, or a guardian angel if you want to call them that. They just decided, yeah, you needed to have this notebook. For some reason we can't understand, that is 20 trillion ripples into the future of dominoes falling that only they can guess at. A good guess is that you needed this notebook maybe for your future career, maybe it influences who you end up matching with in terms of your wife and children and so on. It was something that wasn't really supposed to happen, or was not preferable to have happened. So they fixed it, and returned it to you. Case file number 1800, written by The-Skoog. Once was strange, twice unbelievable. The man's double walk, inconceivable. I like reading these posts, but I never actually thought I would be writing one. So my coworker and I were walking back to our building from one of our flight line aircraft stalls. There is a large fenced area about 50 yards per side. That is the fuel farm where they keep all the jet fuel and trucks to deliver and return it. So you have to walk around this area to get to our building. As we are approaching the corner, maybe 10 yards from the corner, a tall man whom I have never seen before passes us walking the other way. He is very recognizable because of his bald head and gray goatee and rust-colored hoodie. We are just chatting away and walking around the corner. Here comes the same guy wearing the same clothes, and he just lazily walks past us again like it was the first time. We just stopped and stared at each other as he went around the corner, and we were like, what the hell? No, he doesn't have a twin, and there is no way that guy could have covered over 100 plus yards to come around and get in front of us again. My coworker just looked at me, visibly shaken. She had goosebumps all over her arms, and she said, how do you explain that? I told her I couldn't, and I still can't wrap my head around it, to be honest. We both chatted about it briefly the next day, but I can tell it makes her uncomfortable to even talk about it. So I'm not going to bring it up again with her for a while. Case file 1800, Once was strange, twice unbelievable. The man's double walk, inconceivable. Sure, it could be a doppelganger, and given the location, I don't think this could be a prank where, sometimes people have twins or they're identical triplets, and they go out in the world and they're like on a public street, and you see these prank videos where one person walks up in front of a person, they're wearing some really brightly colored clothes so they stand out. They walk in front of them, say, "Excuse me." The person keeps going, and then further down the road, behind another building, they walk out again. It's just their twin or their triplet, and this can go on twice or 3 times. It's just gaslighting people into believing that they're experiencing a doppelganger event, basically. They tell them later on that, yeah, it's just a prank, don't worry, you're not going crazy or the universe isn't glitching out. But given the location, this would have decent security. I don't think you could have some twin that would play a prank like this. So I think it's a genuine glitch, and it's probably a doppelganger situation, which could be caused by universes colliding and squishing into each other. In some areas, bleeding in. And so in that other universe, the person you saw with the goatee was just a bit further back. So he never traveled that great distance, he just hadn't traveled it yet. And then because of the squish, you saw him again. Then if that is true, the real question that we need to ask is, what the hell could have enough energy to squish universes together? Couldn't even conceive of that. Case file number 1801, written by Absolute 00. The Route at Night replayed by Eerie Light. I've lived in the same place for 20 years now. While I occasionally pull out Google Maps to find my way to a super specific spot I haven't been to, I can generally navigate my way around without using maps of any kind. Tonight, I was on my way home after hanging out with some friends. I largely use landmarks to guide myself home, and the key landmark to this particular route is a gas station in front of a 4-way intersection. Approaching from the west, which is where I approach from, turning left at the intersection is pretty much a straight shot home for me, minus a turn about halfway through. I've done this 1,000 times or more, as this was how I got home from high school every day when I was a teenager. I turned left and settled in for the 15 or so minute drive ahead of me. My usual landmark for the turn I mentioned earlier is a couple of streetlights that hang over the road. I drove for about 10 minutes, not seeing the streetlights. I thought it was weird, but just assumed that I had missed them. So I pulled out my phone to get an idea of how far I had overshot it. I inputted my address, and Google Maps told me to take the next right to turn into a neighborhood, making a full loop and getting back on the same road heading the opposite direction. I did so, and as I drove back the other way on the main highway, I began to notice some oddly familiar road signs. Street names I swore I had already passed. And hey, wait a minute, didn't I already turn off this road? A pit sank into my stomach as the road ahead became suddenly familiar. A 4-way intersection with a gas station in front of it. I was approaching from the west, but that's impossible. The only turn I'd made was to get off this very road, minus the loop to get back on the highway. I looked at the road I had already turned into. Suddenly, it felt much more predatory. Like it was waiting for me to fall back into this trap. I decided to go straight instead, taking the long way home. Case notes file 1801. The Route at Night replayed by an Eerie Light. So I like the word predatory used in this story. It sets the vibe a lot. It's like some higher force was trying to lure you down a certain path, and you didn't play along. It's almost like a rat in a maze, which makes me feel like it was an alien experiment, or perhaps even a government play, using space-time portals to manipulate where you end up and discombobulate your mind in terms of what you expect, because you're not in the right location. Given what you know, that would definitely mess with your mind. But I always boil back down to trust your gut. So if your gut said predator, best you took the long way home. So I will just say, good job. Now time for the joke of the day. There are 2 muffins in an oven. The first muffin says, "Wow, it sure is hot in here." The second one says, "Holy crap, a talking muffin?" Well, it talks too. It should be impressed with itself as well. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.